Hello and welcome to Zip News. Israel and Hamas have agreed to a fresh 24-hour humanitarian ceasefire just hours after a previous 12-hour truce was violated. Israel had claimed the militant group were responsible for the violation after Hamas fired a number of rockets into southern and central Israel. At least 1,050 Gazans have now been killed in the 20 days of fighting, with most of those civilians. The army death toll has now reached 43 after an Israeli soldier was killed by a cross-border mortar fire. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu remains defiant, saying that his country will take whatever action necessary to protect its people. Yet another child has died after being locked in a car, with a 10-month-old girl left for at least 2.5 hours in a vehicle in Kansas. At least 18 children have now died in this year alone, and the girl's foster father was taken into custody on an aggravated endangerment charge following the death. Temperatures in the city of Wichita had reached the low 90s during the day, which authorities say would have heated the car to fatal temperatures in a matter of minutes. Police stated the couple's 6 other children have now been removed from the home and placed into protective custody. An out-of-control SUV has claimed the lives of 3 children at a roadside fruit stall in Philadelphia. The owner of the vehicle had been carjacked at gunpoint before the 2 suspects struck the children and their 34-year-old mother, who remains in a critical condition. Police say 1 black and 1 Hispanic man are the prime suspects. Both ran from the scene after the car ploughed into a tree. A reward of $110,000 has been offered for information leading to their arrest. Escalating clashes between rival militias in the capital of Libya has led to the evacuation of US embassy staff. Secretary of State John Kerry said the violence in Tripoli was close to the US compound and presented a very real risk to personnel. He said the decision to remove the staff was necessary due to the volatile situation. Rocket, cannon and artillery fire had been traded between the rival fighters as security in the capital continues to deteriorate. The Ebola outbreak continues to ravage West Africa as the death toll rises above 660. A Sierra Leone woman who fled a hospital with the help of her family died shortly after turning herself in, as fear of Western medicine continues to hamper efforts to contain the deadly disease. The outbreak has claimed more lives than any other in history since the first case was recorded back in February. Meanwhile, Nigeria is on high alert after the death of a Liberian man marked the first case inside the country. Prior to the man's death, the disease had been rampant in Guinea, Liberia and Sierra Leone. Suspected Boko Haram militants have gone on a rampage in northern Cameroon, killing 6 and kidnapping the wife of a senior government minister, among many others. The Nigeria-based Islamist group committed 2 attacks close to the Nigerian border, killing 4 civilians and 2 police officers. The terrorist group have been very active in recent times and are responsible for nearly 2,100 deaths in this year alone. The militants gained international notoriety in April for their kidnapping of 200 Nigerian schoolgirls, all of whom are still missing. The Costa Concordia has completed its final journey as it enters a specifically constructed port in Genoa. The move completes a 2-year salvage operation and one of the biggest of its kind in history after the Concordia capsized after striking a reef off the Italian island of Giglio. More than a dozen vessels towed the 114,000-ton ship into Genoa, where it's set to be used as scrap metal. The January 2012 disaster killed 32 people and left Captain Francesco Schettino facing multiple criminal charges. Construction workers in Bolivia have discovered a mass grave in the southern city of Potosi, believed to be the remains of colonial-era miners. The workers stumbled over the small grave, which contained the remains of between 400 and 500 people, though experts believe there could be many more in the area. Researchers are unsure of the history behind the grave, with a popular theory being the deaths could be linked to a reservoir collapse that killed 2,000 people during the 1600s. Well, it seems somebody at the US Capitol has a little bit too much time on their hands. Wikipedia has imposed a temporary ban on edits from computers at the US House of Representatives after many anonymous changes were made to entries about politicians, businesses and historical events. Edits included describing former US Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld as an alien lizard who eats Mexican babies, and that the murder of John F. Kennedy was ordered by Fidel Castro. The ban is set to last for 10 days. To tech news now, and as the Commonwealth Games take place, anticipation begins to build for the Olympics. While Tokyo 2020 is still 6 years away, Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has expressed his interest in a robot-only event. Japan is frequently at the forefront of robotic technology, and Prime Minister Abe believes the time is right for the Olympic Games to partially move into the technology age. The announcement came as the PM toured robot production facilities to promote the development of robots that assist in day-to-day duties. That's Zip News for today. Join us tomorrow for more updates.